Well, hello everyone. It's Rick Passek, the FlyFish Fanatic, and welcome to my tying bench. Today we'll be tying let's call it a classic for Western Canada, Western North America. It's the Ruby Eyed Leech. I think it's gotten popular now down in the UK and other places, but this is one of those patterns that was developed here. I think it was by Brian Chan, but don't quote me on that one. I'm pretty sure it was, but I'm not 100% sure. It's just one of those patterns that it just works. It has since the day it was made. I do a little variation. I don't put a Marabou tail or Flashabou in this one. This one is pure dubbing. It's basically my red and black dubbing leech in a Ruby Eyed Leech pattern. So it's just got that gold cone head with the red ruby glass bead, and then a dubbed red and black leech behind it. So really good for searching, really good for trolling around if you're new to a lake or if you're new to fly fisher. Really good casting at night, just at dusk and dawn, especially with like low light conditions. They really like this thing. And I've actually tied these in a jig hook as well and hung them under an indicator, and they work as well. So yeah, they're a very versatile pattern. My favorite way, absolutely 100%, is casting these on a type 3 or a type 1 sink line over a drop off and just kind of bringing it up over that drop off. That's when I find the most success. So, and usually right around dusk. So, alrighty, hope you guys enjoy this one. Let's get tying. So, in the vise today, we have a Ahrex FW560 in a size 10. I do these in an 8, 10, 12, 14. This is a Ruby Eyed Leech, my version of it. So it's a little tiny bit different, not much. It's basically just because I use all dub instead of a Marabou tail, but it's just what it is. So, and then I'm going to be using some black nano silk in 6/0. And the reason I'm using the 6/0 is because I want to be able to have that little bit more oomph to be able to spin. And then I'll be using this Arizona semi-seal dubbing from MFC. This is my favorite color blend for leeches, period. This black red and the Arizona semi-seal from MFC or HMH is another one that makes them phenomenal, the blend. So, okay, I start by waxing my nano silk just because it's slippery and I don't want it to spin on the shaft of the hook. So nice and tight all the way back to the bend of the hook, not around the bend. Come back, cut off my thread, and then I'm gonna grab some of the semi-seal out of the bag here, and you see how I'm pulling it out and making these longer strands. I'm gonna lay that down on my desk, and again, and again. So I'll show you, I've got about that much dubbing, but I'm gonna take this and I'm going to pull and stack and pull and stack and pull and stack. That way I know all my material is going in the same direction, right? So it's all going in this direction. So now I'm just going to lay this down and just give this a little bit of a, just doing this, a little bit of a turn, just to make sure I've got everything stacked up. Then I'll pick about the halfway point. I'll tie it in right behind that red bead, seed bead. That's I think it's a 6 mil red seed bead, that one. Then I'll go under and back over. And then I'll fold this over and go right tight back over top of this. I want to be really tight. Okay, so there is my tail. Now that is going to be a little too long, so I'm just going to grab it and just kind of pull out the fibers I don't want. Then I'm going to pull out about a foot of my thread and give it a good wax. Okay. And then roll it back into my bobbin. I'm going to do a bit of a dubbing loop, and now I know I've got lots of wax on there, right? come back, and then go over, back to the back end, back to the front end. So now I can use either my Stonefo spinner that I can use by one finger, right? Or I can use the traditional old school, and I like the old school. I like both, really depends what I'm doing, but for this I like the old school, and I'll show you why in a minute. So now I'm just taking little bunches like this and just stacking them up on my desk here as I pull them off. Just little bunches. I know that's going to be plenty. So now I'm going to take this here and put this into my dubbing loop, a waxed dubbing loop, and then just spread this out a bit. Okay, then what I'll do is right behind where the dubbing ends, where there's no more dubbing here, I'm going to pinch, and then I'm going to spin my dubbing spinner. So you can see that it's just spinning there and just spinning. And now I'll slowly let that go. And then I'll take my finger close to the dubbing spinner and I'll push up and I'll give it a bit more, and I'll do one more time. Again. So now that that's happened, I'll take my Velcro, just make sure this is really nicely pulled out. You want fairly long fibers here, right? So just make sure you've got it all pulled out nicely. There's another reason I like using the 6/0. When you spin it up, it doesn't break on you. And when you do this, it doesn't break on you. So now, just get one good turn right at the back. Make sure you're pulling that material back. And just get one in front of the other. One in front of the other. And then right tight up against that ruby eye. And I'll do one more turn with that thread. And then in there, a couple on top, a couple in front. Now, I'm going to take my whip finisher and right behind that ruby eye, I'm going to give it a 2 to 3 turn, and then I'll take a little bit of Snallies, just because I know I'm not going to be able to, because it'll get into all the material if I do. Put a little bit of Sallies right on the thread, and I'm going to do another 4 to 5 turn whip finish here, right behind there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pull that tight. Nip that off. Make sure you close your head cement, otherwise it's all over your table if you knock it over. Believe me, I've done it. And start working your magic. And I'm quite rough with pulling out the dubbing. I want it out, out, out. Right, so I'm quite rough with it. And it looks like garbage while I'm doing it. But once I'm done, this thing looks awesome. Just double check the bottom side here. Take it out for a second, make sure it's not, yeah, there we go, that's good. Put that back in, and then there you go. There's your all dubbed Ruby Eyed Leech. It's, again, a fairly simple pattern. Just get that lined up for you guys. Fairly simple pattern. You can use less dubbing if you want. I like having some that are a little bit thicker like this one is, and then some that are thinner. But the majority of the time, I'm probably doing one that's kind of in between, like this one here. It's a little thinner, right? But not much. And again, I can just continue. I can do this for as long as I want, and just make sure that none of that material that's along the body is stuck in there, right? So I can just continue until the cows come home if I want, but that is the rough shape of it. Now, I also do these on a jig hook. So again, this will ride that way as a jig, right? So they're not perfect. I like the 90 degree jigs, not the 45s, because it'll hold it more closer to balanced than it will if it's on a 45. But very, 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 very good leech at dusk. Very good leech for trolling. And like if you're going to do a bit of a search of your lake that you're at, if it's a new lake for you and you're searching for drop-offs and structures and stuff like that, and you're wanting to just troll around, great choice. And ripping and stripping these into the weeds and drop-offs is phenomenal too. And hang on, they smoke them. They smoke them hard. So, alrighty. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. If you've subscribed, thank you. If you have not subscribed, please consider doing so. And we'll see you guys on the next tying video. Tie lines, everyone.